Hello, 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 my sexy little cherubs. I am back. I know I've took a week off. I apologize for that. I was not well at all. I don't really know what was wrong with me, to be honest. I just had this like awful migraine. I don't use that word lightly. Trust me, I know. Like, I get headaches all the time. That's fine. I live with that. But this was unbearable. Like, I was sitting in a room with blackout curtains closed all day just because light was killing my eyes. I couldn't be around people very long because any kind of noise was like just giving me the worst headache ever. I just was sitting there alone in the quiet, dark room just because that was the only way I could cope. I literally thought I had brain cancer at one point because I was like, this is not normal. This is not a normal headache. I was taking Tylenol, I was taking painkillers and all these different things, and like nothing would shift it. And it was just awful. But my mom thinks I had some kind of viral disease or infection or something. But I feel a lot better anyway. I'm back. And I wanted to do a book review today. I decided I had this for a long time. It is 13 Reasons Why, and I decided to take the liberty of reading it because I have so many books and I'm trying to, like you guys know, I'm trying to read them and actually become a reader. I've never really been good at being a reader, but I wanted to do a review on this since I have read the entire thing now. It's written by Jay Asher. And it's called 13 Reasons Why, and it's a Netflix show too, right there. So I got this like a long time ago in 2017 from Walmart when 13 Reasons Why was kind of like a big deal. Everyone was talking about it, so I bought the book, and I only just read it. It took me almost 7 years to read it. But yeah, I'll tell you what I thought of this. I went into this knowing it was about suicide. Like, I knew the story of it. I knew it was that girl's committed suicide, and she left a whole bunch of tapes for like with reasons on those tapes, like audio tapes, with reasons as to why she killed herself, or like all of these reasons collectively contributed in her suicide. And each tape is like blaming somebody, or like somebody did something to her that kind of pushed her more toward her choice of committing suicide. So that's basically the story. I haven't seen the Netflix show, so I've officially read a book before I've actually watched something. So that's a pretty impressive, like that's something, that's a first. That's going on my resume. I paid $11 US for this when it first came out. See right there? $11. I can't believe it. If you were to buy this in this current economy, it would be $25. Anyway, I should be talking about what I thought of the book. The book itself, I feel like, was a little complicated to read because it does go back and forth between like different people, and it doesn't tell you when that's happening. The only way you can kind of detect that is by the font. There is a slight font change for different like characters, and there's only really like Clay and Hannah. They're the main people that are doing the narrating in this book, but there is a couple of other people that have like a few sentences, I guess, and you just kind of have to figure out who is saying what, because it just kind of jumps in between. Like, Hannah will be telling something on the tape, and while you're reading what Hannah's saying, and then all of a sudden, like, Clay interrupts what she's saying to say something to himself. So you kind of have to pay attention to the font, I guess. I don't know if that's a very common thing with books, but I've never encountered that before in any of my reading history, and I've only read, like, The Cat in the Hat. No, I really wanted to read, like, I love a love story, especially a tragic, sad love story, and I knew that this was about that, and I really wanted to read it because I wanted to cry, and I love that kind of book that makes me cry. As you guys know, All the Bright Places, that made me like, oh my god, I literally went into hiding for 3 days after I read that. Like, I had a breakdown and everything. It just was like, that was a very powerful book to me. All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. This one, however, I didn't shed a single tear. I didn't cry, and I feel like that was kind of because of the way Hannah is. At first, I didn't really like her. The way she was talking in these tapes seemed like she wasn't taking what she had done very seriously. Like, she didn't understand the severity of suicide, and that was all I could imagine. Like, I was thinking about, like, all of her family, and, like, they don't really, none of her family are in this or anything like that. They briefly mention them occasionally. There isn't much talk about them or, like, how they dealt with it. It's just about the tapes and the people that the tapes are addressed to. But it made me think, like, the way she's kind of goofing about and stuff like that. At first, I was just kind of like, I don't know about this chick. I mean, she seems a little woohoo, woo. No, but I did feel a little bit like, I was having a hard time empathizing with her. I really wanted to be on her side in this, and I had a difficult time doing that because she just came across as a clown. Like, she was being funny, she was being silly, and joking a lot. But then I was like, well, that's me. If I was to commit suicide, I'd probably do the same thing too. I'd like make jokes about it. So I guess like I could relate to her in that way. I was just imagining she was going to be a little more depressed, but she was just kind of coating that and disguising it with humor, and I just thought, like, that is very relatable, but I don't know what I was expecting, really. I just thought she was going to be, like, very sad and it would break my heart, but she was kind of hard to feel bad for, I guess, at first. But the more the story goes on, and the more you get through the tapes, the more I actually started to, like, I liked her. Like, at first, I just felt like she was a little narcissistic or something. Like, it's all about me. Everybody, listen to these tapes, follow the map that I've given you, and listen to my life and why I decided to do this. Like, I felt like it was a little narcissistic. Like, she wanted the attention. Instead of just killing yourself and just, like, dying, like, you just don't want to live anymore, just kill yourself. You know what I mean? But, like, what she did was, like, made this whole thing kind of about her. She wanted all the attention. But then I realized, like, toward the end, she didn't really want the attention. She just wanted to put out there the reasons why she did it and expose all of the people for all the wrongdoings that they've done. And some of the things were pretty fucked up. Like, she was raped in one case, and all the other things, just like people being backstabbers to her. And there was a whole bunch, well, there was obviously 13 reasons why, and I did really feel for her at that point. Like, by the end of the book, I definitely was on her side, and I thought, you know, what she was going through was not worth taking her life over. Everything could have been fixed. And even Clay, the guy who is like the main character in this, he's the one that's like we're following the story of. He's listening to the tapes. He's number 9 to get the tapes, so everybody's getting the tapes, listening to them all, and then passing them to the next person. And Clay is number 9. And she actually doesn't say anything. She's saying everything bad about everybody, but she doesn't say anything bad about Clay. He was the only one that she really talked good about in the tape. It sucked because Clay really was like so in love with her, but he was too much of a shitbag to like actually tell her how he felt. So she died wanting somebody like Clay, and Clay felt like he let her down almost because he could have stopped. He's like blaming himself. I could have helped her. I could have stopped her. But she didn't they had like this one night together, and she just freaked out, and she was like, because she had this reputation of being a slut, and he was like, had a reputation of being a good guy, and she didn't want to like tarnish his reputation by her reputation, which wasn't true anyway. But she just felt like because she already has this reputation, it's going to ruin him. So she felt like she was bad for him. So she kind of like freaked out and was like, no, just leave me alone. Get out of here. And he had to leave. And then now he blames himself because he's like, I should have stayed. She needed help and I should have stayed. I walked away. Which I guess it's not Clay's fault. Like, she didn't really give him a choice. Like, if a girl tells you no, stop, go away, you stop and go away. You don't stick around and try. Like, that's gonna get you Me Too. Hashtag Me Too. I would say it was kind of complicated to follow, but I guess you do kind of get used to it. Once you figure things out and you understand how the book like works, it's pretty good. I wouldn't say it was the best book I've ever read. There was so much in here that was kind of annoying and so much that could have been avoided, and she could have still been alive to tell the tale kind of thing. Like, there was just so much that could have just, there was a solution to everything, basically. Suicide should have been the last thing she was thinking about. I mean, she did say that a few times, like it was the last resort, but she must have just missed all the other solutions before she like jumped to that one. So I feel like she had like 2 solutions. It was like this or suicide, and it didn't go this way, so she was like, that's it, suicide it is, boys. But in reality, there were so many ways to solve her problems. I guess she was just a kid, though. I mean, she was only like, I think 16 or 17. I don't even know if it's specified, but she's like a high school kid, so I guess it was like she was just young, going through hormones and all stuff like that, and she did what she thought she had to do, when all she had to do realistically was just wait a couple of years, and then she would have been free from that town, and she would have never had to see anybody ever again. But I guess, like, you don't really think like that when you're in that mental headspace. You just think like, this is my life forever, so why not just end it now? So I do get that. I understand her to that extent. But like, there were so many like annoying things. I'm not going to go into much detail because I could talk about it a lot. But I'll give one example. There was a case when she just sat there in a closet, and just let a girl get raped in the bedroom. And she just, like, she said she froze and just didn't do anything, and now she blames herself for that girl getting raped. But I just feel like, just stop it. Like, you could have stopped it, you know what I mean? Like, that, I feel like, was kind of fucked up. No matter what you're doing, and no matter what, like, who you are, if you see somebody getting raped, you stop it, or you at least attempt to stop it. You don't just sit there and watch it happen. Anyway, that's pretty much all I'm going to say about this. I thought it was pretty good. Worth reading, yeah, sure. I wouldn't say it was the best book I ever read. I didn't cry. I didn't really feel that sad. I was just more frustrated and annoyed. Like, there was so much that could have been avoided, and like I said, it just wasn't fair on pretty much Hannah or Clay. And I feel pretty bad for Clay more than anything, because he's living with this guilt now. And the book, however, took place all in one night. I don't know for sure, but I've heard that the series takes place over like years or something. I'm not really sure. Maybe they just dragged it on. They're just capitalizing off of it while it's still popular. But yeah, the book happens in one night, so it's pretty quick to get through. It didn't take me long to read it, like 2 weeks, I think. And I don't really read that much because I do get bored pretty quickly. But yeah, if you want to read it, sure, go ahead. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a book reviewer, but I would give this a solid... I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5. I don't know how you rate books, but yeah, that's what I'd give it. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out, and remember the most important thing: chase your dreams.